Across borders now, and stemming from the story about Cuban doctors, one of the unmissable hallmarks of the streets of Cuba's capital, Havana, are vintage taxis that have endured service for more than 70 years. The taxi is extremely popular with tourists, as Master Kendia found out during a recent visit to the Caribbean nation. Here now is that story on the so-called Cuba's time machines.
There's a feeling of being stuck in time. From the sights and sounds to the vintage cars in Havana, Cuba, the beauty that defines the Caribbean nation. Rodriguez inherited his car from his father, who also got it from his father. It's used as a family car and for business.
I have grown with these cars being around. It has been the cars of the Cubans since always.
He calls it the Red Fury.
Many of the cars, like I said, I have adapted cars from new models, like diesel engines for the fuel consumptions, because this fuel here is kind of expensive, and these cars originally came with a high consumption. I mean, for example, this one is like 5 kilometers per liter. It takes a lot of fuel. This one is a hybrid, for example. This is a Ford Fairlane from the 56 with a Chevy Camaro 350 engine in it. So it's a powerful car, but it takes a lot of fuel.
The numerous old American cars from the 1940s and 1950s lining the streets of Havana is as a result of a 4-decade-long grudge the country's late leader, Fidel Castro, held against the United States. Though the island floats only 144 kilometers away from Florida in the U.S., Fidel Castro had placed a ban on foreign vehicle imports, this making it difficult to buy new parts and fuel. So necessity became the mother of all innovation here.
Many of the times we have to make their own parts. We have to rebuild them. And sometimes we have to adapt the parts from another models of cars, because it's really hard to get the parts, especially with the embargo in the US. It's hard to get the parts over there, but we don't have like a special store for it, so that's why we have to make their own parts mostly of the time, do a lot of magic with these cars to keep it running.
But there's a flip side. Owning such a car translates into good money, especially by taking tourists around the city sites. It's even better if you speak English, like Rodriguez. Taxi drivers are among the highest paid, far much better than Cuban doctors.
There are cars that are in a better condition. Also, there are cars that are like some special type of car, special brand, special model, special year. That, of course, it takes a little bit more of money to take it.
The going rate for tourists to ride in a classic car is the equivalent of 4,000 to 5,000 Kenya shillings an hour.
It's worth it, definitely worth it. You know, anyone who comes here have to go on these American cars. Excellent, you know, fun ride. You know, you get the sunshine, you get the fresh air. So I recommend it.
The beauty of the cars a complement of the splendor that is the old Havana.
Cuba is known for many things, but when you come to Havana, what stands out mostly are the old American cars, the vintage cars now face and color of Cuba. Master Kendia, Old Havana, Cuba.